What else is out?
Okay.
You mentioned Salem's Lot, I think.
Well, staying in horror, Salem's Lot. It's a new adaptation of King's 1975 modern vampire novel, which was his second novel after Carrie. In the source, a writer, Ben, returns to his hometown of Jerusalem's Lot, Salem's Lot, where he lived as a child, only to discover that the town is basically being turned into vampires. So famously, 1979, two-part miniseries directed by Tobe Hooper, who made Texas Chainsaw Massacre, starring David Soul and James Mason. That was terrific. 1980 something, Larry Cohen, who did It's Alive, did Return to Salem's Lot. In 2004, there was a new TV miniseries, Rob Lowe and Donald Sutherland. There was also a BBC radio drama version in 95, so many adaptations. Now, and this is coming to us obviously in the wake of the big screen success of It, which similarly started life as a TV miniseries. It's a big screen Salem's Lot, although it's worth pointing out that this was made in 2021, was due for release in 2022, was delayed to 2023, delayed again to 2024, and in America has gone straight to Max, but is getting a theatrical release here. So it's not been much loved by the people that made it. In fact, Stephen King was on Elon Musk's hellscape of fascist filth, and he said, I don't know what the problem is, because it's not like it's embarrassing or anything. And it's like, no, it's not embarrassing, but that's, it's not embarrassing. So this is written and directed by Gary Doberman, who wrote for the Conjuring universe, directed Annabelle Comes Home, and was a writer on It, sole credit on It Chapter 2. And it's credited as from the creator of the Conjuring universe, that's James Wan, and a producer of It, which I presume is Roy Lee, and King gets an exec producer credit. So mid-70s, Lewis Pullman is Ben Mears, the writer who comes back to Salem's Lot, which he left after traumatic childhood experiences. Mackenzie Lee is Susan, the Salem local who is interested in Ben. Here is a clip.
I've always written stories about things that are so terrible. You'll run away until your brain won't remember.
So why did you come back?
I'm here for research.
What exactly, though, are you researching?
I can see her lying back in her satin dress.
Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary in the lot recently?
A little bit of Gordon Lightfoot.
It is.
In
And actually, the needle drops are rather good. When he says, have you noticed anything out of the ordinary? Well, what is out of the ordinary is that the Marsden house, the creepy house, has been sold. It's now being caretaken by Peter Isaacs' Richard Straker, who's got an antique shop in town. The locals, meanwhile, have been asked to deliver a crate, which looks suspiciously like a coffin, into the basement of the house and then to leave it alone. Jordan Preston Carter is Mark, who's this resourceful school kid who's one of the first to cry vampire. Alfred Woodard is Dr. Cody, who's baffled by the outbreaks of pernicious anemia. John Benjamin Hickey is Father Callahan, who finds his Holy Spirit in a bottle. Bill Camp is all-round good egg. Matthew Burke. So the miniseries were like 3 hours long, and the horror had time to unfold. This is 130 minutes, and so you have got none of that breathing space. So one moment the town is just a bit weird, and the next moment everyone's a vampire, and characters are getting killed and resurrected at a rate of knots. And that is because it's a compressed running time of a longer book. There are some good scenes. The floating kid tapping at the window that we all remember from the Tobe Hooper version is sort of revisited. It's still kind of, it has less power, but it still has some panache. There's a sequence at a drive-in, which is actually very well handled. It's got some very, very good tension. And one or two of the jump scares have got some bite, but it's a fairly uncharismatic adaptation. I mean, I was left longing for David Soul. John Preston Carter is very good, holds the attention. Alfred Woodard is very underused. I mean, it's rated 15 for strong horror, violence, bloody images, and language. And it's not really scary. There are a couple of creepy moments because it's kind of a creepy story. But it does definitely feel like when King said there's nothing embarrassing about it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There isn't. But there isn't much more either. I mean, I kind of enjoyed it because I like the story. And I'm a Stephen King fan, and I know you are. And this is one of his most enduring tales. But I don't know that there's anything new here. It's just fine.